It's time for the Cover Price Top 10. We're going back 1 year. All right, guys, we're going to crack into this list. You know what to do. Hit the subscription button, hit the thumbs up, leave a comment down below. Most importantly, make sure you give me a follow on all the social media, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and whatnot, where I sell books every Tuesday night at 8:30. We may be adding some shows as well. Now, this list here comes to us from our friends over at Covrprice. Now, they also have a YouTube channel. Check them out. They're going to be putting out content as well. This list now focuses on their top 10 from 1 year ago. I'll take you through how each title's sales compare from last year's market values to today's current values. How did these books do? What had a boost in price and what had a bust? Now, this is going to be a fun list. You guys who've been in the hobby for a little while, who've been watching these videos and who were watching these videos when we were doing them even a year ago and watching the top 10s from a year ago, all these books are going to look very familiar. So let's start out with number 10. This is Moon Knight number 3, the newsstand edition. This time last year, the Moon Knight trailer for Disney Plus was released and created a massive uptick in aftermarket sales. While the trailer didn't feature Gaspard Ulliel, yeah, probably pronounced that one wrong, who would be playing Midnight Man, this first appearance quickly escalated in price with the tragic passing of French actor Gaspard Ulliel. This was mostly due to the showrunners and fellow actors commenting on how good he was in the series, leading to confidence that the character could steal the show. It reached raw near-mint highs of $125 and $750 for a CGC 9.8. 1 year later, we know that the show has come and gone, and while Gaspard was great in his role, audiences were disappointed in not seeing him appear as Midnight Man, and with Gaspard's death, it's now unlikely we ever will. Prices tumbled hard to their current $13 raw, $128 for a 9.8. This is a bust, and it's a shame because chances are we will never see this character. There was so much hype after the trailer, and this actor passing away is just terrible. Forget about this book, guys. I'd be surprised if it ever climbs. It's never going to see $750 in a 9.8. I would be shocked. Let's go to number 9. This is Catwoman number 39, the Sozomaika 1 in 25 variant. While Sozomaika, which another one I'm probably pronouncing wrong, was growing in popularity, her Catwoman variants put her on the map. With this as her first one, it set a trend that would consistently see her covers hit huge premiums with each release. It's incredible what some of these 1 in 25 variants are doing right out of the gate. We tracked it at a high near mint raw sale of $167. And a few weeks later, $400 for a 9.8. 1 year later, the Sozomaika's variants continue to be popular. However, this cover was featured on 2 more covers, a second print and a second print virgin cover. Those diluted the value a bit and mix in a little fatigue, and you have the current market value at $64 for a near mint raw and $171 for a 9.8. This is a bust. Though while down from last year, it's important to note that $64 for a 1 in 25 is still a strong market value. It is. This is a book that has 2 things kind of going for it at the time. Number 1, it was a 1 in 25 of Catwoman. What LCS is ordering 25 copies of Catwoman? Which means even if you order 25 copies of Catwoman, you're only getting 1 of these, which tells me that the print run on this book was extremely low. Because again, which LCSs, which comic shops are ordering 25 copies of Catwoman? Probably not a lot. You mix that in with a great cover, and this is what you get. I do say, don't fall for the FOMO. If you want the book, let it simmer. Let it go, let it peak, watch it as it comes down, and when it comes to a price that you feel comfortable paying, grab it. Otherwise, don't do it. You don't want to be the person on the high of this list. You don't want to be the person who spent $167 for a raw copy when you can get it today for $64, $100 cheaper. Let's go to number 8. Sandman, number 10. This time last year, it was announced that actor Boyd Holbrook would be playing the role of the Corinthian on Netflix's Sandman series. He's a creepy character with teeth for eyes. It was also recently announced that James Tynion was writing a new comic series, Nightmare Country, which will be based in the Sandman universe and centered around the Corinthian. These two factors played the primary role in helping Near Mint Raw's trend at $40 and a high sale of $678 for CGC 9.8. 1 year later, we know that the Sandman series was a bit hit for Netflix, and to fans' relief, was renewed for a second season. This helped Near Mint Raw copies get a bump up in price at $64, while 9.8 slid a bit to $575. While that's a boost raw and a bust graded, this is normal for price slumps while we wait for the second season. It drops if it's $100 drop is rather modest in comparison to what most books do. Some never recover, guys, but this one might, especially if they do well in a season 2. Keep an eye on this. A lot of those Sandman books I always felt were kind of difficult to get in 9.8s, just darker covers. I don't know. This could totally just be me and my experience with this run, but I never had very good success with getting them graded. Never. I don't know if I've ever gotten a 9.8 on a Sandman 1 or I think 4, 9. There's a couple of the better issues, Death. Regardless, I've had bad luck with it. And usually when I do find these books, they were so good, they were red. I don't know if a lot of people back in the day were sitting on runs of Sandman that weren't red. Just my experience, totally one person's, just me. Just me. Let's go to number 7. This is Moon Knight 188. If you recall, while the Moon Knight trailer was met with positive reactions when it was released this time last year, many felt disappointed in the reveal of Ethan Hawke playing Arthur Harrow, a relatively obscure Moon Knight villain, so much so that the speculation began that he was another character in disguise, like Dracula. The other theory surrounds the cult-like scenes involving Harrow, leading many to believe he's either a pawn of the Sun King or possibly the Sun King in disguise. Regardless, the hope of the Sun King playing a significant role has made his first appearance in this issue trend in a huge way. It trended $59 for a Near Mint Raw and a huge $550 for a CGC 9.8. The Daniel Warren Johnson 1 in 25 variant did even better in price. 1 year later, Ethan Hawke proved to be a great adversary and villain, though it turned out he was just Arthur Harrow. On top of that, he's dead after the conclusion of the show. While he could easily come back, the Sun King theory died quickly. Near Mint Raw values currently trend at $15, with 9.8s at a fair market value of $61. Bust. However, the Sun King is a great long-term spec for both comics and content. These low prices are a great time to buy into right now. I can't stress that enough, but I do want to say, don't go and buy this book because I think it's a good value, which I believe it is. It's not going to hit $500+ again in a 9.8, but at $59 or I'm sorry, $61 for a 9.8 of a first appearance, which is a key, kind of a good deal. Especially for a character that may have a future in future Moon Knight stories. Not only stories as in books, but MCU content. Something to think about. Please, don't go and buy the book specifically because I said so. Do your own research. Do your due diligence. Take all the information out there, put it together, and then make an educated decision. With that, we go to number 5. This is Hulk, number 3, the Trad Moore 1 in 25. After getting significant heat behind the God of Hammers, Donny Cates strikes again with his crazy Hulk run. So, to catch folks up with the series, spoilers here a little bit, the Hulks have been split into 3 personalities. As described in the book summary, the Hulk's body has been turned into a starship. Banner's psyche pilots it from within the Hulk's mind, and the Hulk's psyche fuels the starship with his anger. While traveling through the different dimensions, we are introduced to a darker and more sinister threat that many are calling Black Hulk and Null Hulk. However, it's not known if this unnamed character is even a Hulk or what this means for our Hulk. With that said, high expectations for this character to turn into an ongoing character helped it hit a high sale of $90 for a Near Mint Raw copy, and a few weeks later, $173 for 9.8. 1 year later, we now know this new Hulk as Titan. And if you're not reading this current run, it's still going, though it's scheduled to come to an end this April with Hulk 14. We've seen Titan's origin, have been and know what he actually is. We'll refrain from spoiling it for those wishing to catch up. For now, the market has forgotten about Titan and let this variant of his cameo slip to $14 and a near mint, $55 in a CGC 9.8. Let's make a note here, guys. His first appearance is in issue number 6. This is a bust. And what do we talk about? Careful with the FOMO. Careful with these new books that hit. Now, granted, this is the 1 in 25. That's why those prices seem a little elevated compared to just a cover A. But don't fall for the FOMO. If you were pulling this title to read anyway, good for you. Great. Don't be that guy who's spending $90 on this book. Please, you don't want to be that guy or a girl. Let's go to number 5. Moon Knight, number 1. This one's from 1980. For the past several years, the highly anticipated Moon Knight Disney Plus series continued to push the first issue of this ongoing series to a higher and higher market value. With the official first trailer finally released, this book's rise in price and surge of copies sold with near mint raw trending at $150 and a high sale of $1,150 for CGC 9.8. 1 year later, this book is painful as it returned to its pre-content prices with near mint raws trending at $56, 9/8 at $363. While it's easy to point to a down market, this sharp drop for a central character like Moon Knight, non-first appearance is very typical for any content-driven values. It's important to remember that this is a common book. This time last year, the demand was able to surpass supply and helped retain values. However, the market has moved on. This led to the supply now greatly outweighing demand. This is a bust. With that said, this is still a great book to own and will most likely increase with the return of Moon Knight in some capacity in the MCU. This does still contain the first appearance of Khonshu and Bushman. This is still a great Moon Knight key. There are a lot of copies out there. And when we start getting some more rumors of Moon Knight coming to possibly another Disney Plus series or maybe appearing on the big screen in some way, shape, or form, this is one of those books you are going to see climb back up. Why? Because it's affordable. This is a very affordable book. There are a lot of copies out there. It will slowly go up. Yes, you will see the Werewolf by Night 32 climb as well, I believe. But this one, you have more people buying the affordable books, so you can kind of start creeping the price up slowly. I think this is a great book. I think it's a pretty decent buy now. Don't go out and buy it because I said that. Again, I keep repeating myself, but I don't want you to blame me just in case I'm wrong. Do your own research, do your own homework, do your due diligence, get your information, make an educated decision. Let's go to number 4. Strange Academy, number 15, the Humberto Ramos variant? I don't even know if this is a variant. Since its release, Strange Academy has been hot right out of the gate. First appearances throughout the run saw significant market movement. This time last year was all about Gaslamp. While his first cameo versus the first appearance is still being debated for issue number 13 and 14, this issue officially received the honor of being his first cover appearance. And boy, did it sell. Hundreds of copies sold in just the first few days, with steady near mint raw prices of $29 and then $129 for 9/8 a few weeks later. 1 year later, Gaslamp is still around. His storyline is still playing out in Strange Academy finals. Yet the market moved on from this cover appearance, which now sells for $10 near mint, raw $56. $56 for a 9.8. This is a bust, but don't be surprised if these start to climb again with the Disney Plus rumors of a Strange Academy. Was it a Disney Plus series or a movie? They were talking about a Strange Academy, I think Disney Plus series or a special presentation. Watch out for all the Strange Academy books. They're going to start climbing. Let's go to number 3. This is Moon Knight number 7, the Raza variant. This time last year, we had one of the hottest variants of the week. Well-timed with Moon Knight heat. This was challenging to find in stores as copies were quickly snatched up. Fans had to turn to online sales, which helped move a ton of copies, trending at a height of $30 for a near mint raw copy, $140 for a 9.8. A few weeks later, while this is still a great cover, demand has waned and there's currently a large supply of copies. It's now selling for $12 near mint, $47 for a 9.8. Be careful when it comes to the variants. Don't fall for it. We talk about FOMO, fear of missing out, flavor of the week. Just try to think of it like when we go back to the Catwoman book, like who was buying 25 copies of Catwoman? Not only was the cover beautiful, but there weren't a whole lot out there. I think more people were probably picking the Moon Knight stuff up. I don't even know if this was a ratio like a 1 in 25 variant or a cover B. Just be careful, guys. Don't be the person buying at the top. Let's get to number 2. This is Hulk number 3. This is the Otley cover. Now, last year, Titan's first cameo appearance didn't just move the variant. This standard cover was also on fire and was trending at $25 for a raw copy, $126 for 9.8. 1 year later, lack of interest has let this cameo appearance fall to $12 near mint raw, $49 for a 9.8 bust. A lot of busts on this list, guys. A lot of FOMO stuff. Other than the Moon Knight stuff, everything seems to be modern variants or modern keys or like modern first appearances. And when I say modern, I mean like super modern. I don't mean like Moon Knight number 1 from 1980. I mean like stuff from the last 5 years. Strange Academy, Catwoman, now Hulk a couple times. Try not to fall for the FOMO. It's one thing if you buy this book because you want to read it and you want to complete your story and maybe you have a run, you're missing a couple issues. All right, what are you going to do, right? You got to get the book. You got to get the book if you want it. Try not to buy on the high for the investment purposes if that's in fact what you're doing. Also, if you had this on your pull list, good for you. Congratulations. Now, with all of that being said, I do want to remind everybody, if you want to get a Covrprice subscription, there is a link in the description down below. It is an absolutely phenomenal way to categorize and track your collection as well as watch the current market. Use the description code, get your discounted trial run, see how you like it. I use it. I really, really enjoy it. Now with that, let's go to number 1. This is Moon Knight number 2. This one's from 1985. As noted, the most significant trend out of the Moon Knight Disney Plus trailer was around the confirmation that Ethan Hawke is playing the role of the obscure Moon Knight villain, Dr. Arthur Harrow. His first and only appearance was in this issue. It went from a $1-priced book to a high of $158 raw. Tons of copies sold, and it had a huge 7-day trend of 1,438%. No 9.8s were available at the time. I don't even know if anybody really had any. And now 1 year later, as noted, Harrow dies at the end of Moon Knight series, leaving the book to die along with it, setting to its current $10 near mint raw value, $52 in a 9.8. Ethan Hawke did a tremendous job in the Moon Knight series. I don't know if we'll ever see him again. He's dead and gone. This book is going with it. Forget about it. Let it go. Let's talk about this list now as a whole. 1 year later, these flavors of the week covers and first appearances have greatly decreased. Time has allowed fans to obtain these at much more accessible prices. It's also worth noting that many of these characters do still have plenty of opportunity for long-term potential. Yet, as we saw with Moon Knight, if fans didn't care about the character before the content, then it's difficult for their first appearances to retain those high values when the show or film is completed. Arthur Harrow is a perfect example of sitting some speculation out. With a list of almost all busts, the one glimmer of hope was Sandman number 10 Raws. Lots of lessons were learned here. If you would have sat out these hot books last year, you would be able to pick them up today for a fraction of the cost. Guys, make sure you check out covrprice.com. Make sure you check out their current top 10 and movers and shakers list. Make sure you come back here next time as well, because when we do the next Cover Price video, we're going back 3 years. Guys, thank you so much for watching. And as always, keep it comics.